welcome to the live stream. We're going to be talking about the mining and smithing beta. We're going to be answering some of your questions, and we're going to be going through. So he's looking at me. He's been so excited for me to do the open so long. We're going to be going through some of the changes and some of the differences that you might see, and some of the changes that we've actually made since we've launched the beta. So I'm Mod Deck. Joining me,
I'm Mod Tomb.
Mod Jack.
I'm Mod Shogun.
and we are the development team for Direction.
Oh, we didn't do it. We messed it up.
Did we?
Yeah,
oh, yes. No, we're supposed to all say it at the same time. Oh, the stream's already gone so poorly.
Never mind.
Throw it away. How do we feel like the beta's gone so far, guys?
Way better than we expected. Like, honestly, like we thought it was going to be quite controversial and quite. We've had 9,000 people try it out. We had a peak of 900 people at the same time, which is crazy because we logged onto the square and you just couldn't see anybody because you walk 10 feet and 200 more people would spawn. It was amazing.
That was when I first logged in, it was incredible. I was like, oh no, there's no one here.
Yeah.
Tried anyone around, and they were like moving around, like, oh no, they've just lodded out. They're here now.
Yeah.
Great. There's someone everywhere.
And you go over to the anvil and there's like 700 people standing on the same spot.
Oh yeah, no. If you wanted to trade with one person who was doing smithing, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that just doesn't.
I remember we had like, you stand over in this square so people can see you, and I'll stand over the copper rocks, and someone standing in the anvils.
Yeah.
So we cover entire area. You're like,
'Cause you just
go
can't see
over
who's
to
talking.
the copper rock here, talk to Mod Jack. Like, it's a bit chaotic.
Yeah, I was fully expecting like 100 people and was completely blown away by the amount of people that actually came on. And are still on.
So the, in case it's not completely obvious, the beta is live now. You can play right now. We're posting into the chat periodically what the link is to play that. It's also on Reddit. It's also on the website. It's probably been tweeted a bunch of times. It's all over the place. If you know how to play RuneScape, then there is a place that will give you the link.
The bit of the link that includes RS launch is important, and it's not formatting it correctly in the Twitch chat. So make sure you copy and paste the whole thing. Don't just click the link or it won't work.
You're
formatted correctly?
No, it's Twitch chat's doing it wrong. It's not that you've done it wrong.
Okay.
but the best place to launch it is probably go to the website, go to the news posts about the mining smithing beta, click the link there. That should take care of everything for you, and that will require the NXT client. But that should be easy enough for everyone at this point.
Hopefully,
So we did a couple of changes during the day yesterday. Do we want to talk about how we've already changed things?
Yeah, there was a lot of complaints about heat. Heat depleted much too quickly. Had to re-click with smithing far too often. So we increased the heat. The heat cap was 300. We increased it by 3 times your smithing level. So it's now about 600 if you've got some 99 smithing.
Yeah, but if you're level 1 smithing, it'll start at 303.
303, yeah.
And as you level up, it
Goes up and
increases.
up and up.
I don't remember. There was something else that we changed yesterday. What was that?
It was the loot beams.
Yes, right.
So
Okay, yeah, that's less exciting.
when you're mining, if you every so often one of the nearby rocks was a smoke puff, like the harmonized effect. Like that, yeah, exactly. It was a smoke puff, and people just weren't noticing it.
Yeah.
So we changed it to the loot beam. We have discovered that the problem with the loot beams is that they don't last long enough, so they disappear inside the box and turn into some sparkles.
Yes.
So they can be quite hard to spot if you don't spot them early. I've seen some people saying, I can't get to the loot beams in time. They are still there. It's just that the beam itself has faded out, and it's just a little sparkle now.
Yeah. So this is one of the examples of the way in which it is a beta.
Yeah.
In case all the coloured rocks aren't obvious enough. I think in the case of the loot beam, if you look carefully, you can still see that the sparkles are coming out of the top of the rock. We'll probably hot fix that by the time the beta goes, like before the beta's down, to make it a bit obvious. Yeah. Probably to move it up a bit.
But there was a definite improvement because people were complaining the mining rates were too slow, I think because they just weren't noticing the smoke. But when we were testing it ourselves, the smoke was fairly obvious, partly because we need to look for it.
Yeah.
But when there's 700 people nearby, it was just kind of not obvious.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't quite anticipate the rush on day one.
Yeah, so if you click the actual loot beam, that's what we're calling rock opportunities, which you can read about in the mining smithing documentation as well.
10 times the XP that swing.
No, 5.
It's 5. Sorry, 5 times.
We nerfed it because 10 was ludicrous. It was 10 in early testing, and then we changed it to 5. And 5 seems about right. Like 5 is worth clicking on, and it's worth the time it takes you to get to the rock and click on it. But if you don't click it, you get much slower XP. So if you go completely AFK, you're getting something like half what you would be getting if you click on them. So if you're trying it out and it feels like mining is much too slow, that's probably the reason.
Also, one of the other things we were thinking of adding to the heat mechanic was we've already done the addition to your smithing level, basically improves your maximum heat. We're also considering adding adding a mechanic so your fire making also improves that as well.
Yeah. So just add again, like your fire making
So
level as well.
it would just be another
So
flat
that would be
addition.
another 300-ish.
Yeah.
On your fire level. We haven't implemented that yet because we'll need to, so the NPCs that let you set your level and stuff, at the moment there's no way to set your fire making level, so it wouldn't actually make any difference. So we need to, it's a much larger change, so we may or may not get that in before the end of the beta. But if we can, we will.
Yeah, we'll be able to get it in before the end of the beta.
You think we'll be able to get it in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think interestingly that was one of the, we had that idea before the beta and we were wondering whether that was,
Yeah, we
if
weren't
we were
sure
tying
whether to do
too
it or
many
not.
skills in or...
Yeah, because some people have said, if you're not aware, agility makes a very small difference to mining, and strength makes a very small difference to mining, and we're proposing having fire making make a fairly small difference to
Smithing,
smithing.
yes.
Some people have said, well, is it fair that strength makes a difference to mining? Should skilling cures be locked out of? I mean, it is only about a 5% difference overall, so it's not a huge difference. But if you are a skilling pure, you will get very slightly less.
And in a similar
mining.
vein, there are a couple of people saying, is it fair that agility makes a difference when Freetoplay won't have it?
Yes, exactly.
I think in the same vein, it is a small bonus.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they all add up. They're all bonuses
Yeah.
that are worth having. But if you don't have 99, you're not going to be like, oh, it's not even worth bothering to level mining. Like, it's definitely worth doing. It's like leveling strength to 99 first, so your mining is more efficient would be crazy.
Yes. But it's you're not really missing out by having one agility or one.
Yeah. It's just a small bonus for people that have it, because we recognise that those skills aren't doing much at the moment, and we want to give them a bit more benefit. We were going to talk about stats. A lot of people are asking, are these numbers final? Are the combat stats final? Are the XP numbers final? To which the answer is we like them, but we're willing to change them, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, we've done the best job we can in the relatively short space of time. Like, they haven't been fully balanced. The combat stats in particular, we haven't done properly.
I think there is actually a bug with the combat stats on the beta.
Yeah, so
some of the combat stats are actually incorrect.
Yeah, so the armor combat stats are currently incorrect. They're all plate bodies for some reason.
Yeah.
But on the documentation that's linked to on the forum post, all the combat stats that should be what we perceive them to be are on there.
Yeah, that's another thing we should point out, that there is a full set of design documents for everything that's on the beta available if you look in the...
It's linked in the
RuneScape
same thread, the forum thread. The forum thread that's linked in the beta, actually, will take you straight there.
Yes.
And you can get to the documents from there.
But as for all of the rest of things like XP rates, those are all, they're where we want them to be, just about.
Like ish. And then we're willing to tweak
open
them.
to feedback.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, obviously, that in the beta, you are just doing, you just have mining and you just have smithing. You don't have things like familiars there to speed it up. You don't have, all those other boosts and such that you normally have. So when you're thinking about the comparison, this feels a bit slower than live. I assume most of the time in live, you're probably using GG potions or using this or that. So it's going to feel a little bit slower, but we're going to be obviously reintroducing all that stuff when we get, much further down the line, closer to full release.
Yeah. I think another thing we've seen is people who are experts in the current system trying out the beta for a few minutes and not getting as good rates. But of course, there's quite a lot of systems going on, so learning to do it in the most efficient way will take a while, I think, and we're expecting it to take a while before people figure out the best way to do it. And it won't just be, if it was completely obvious on launch how to get the best rates and everything, that wouldn't really be very interesting anyway.
No.
So we're not expecting people to, within minutes, be able to match their live rates.
Yes. It's not to say that we're going to make it extremely complicated, or we don't expect, a couple of weeks after the reworks come out, that everyone has to read a 20-page guide on here's how mining smithing works.
Yeah.
It is almost certainly going to be the case that within one day there is a 2-sentence thing that is, here's what you do if you want to spend a lot of money and go very quickly. Here's what you want to do if you want to make a lot of money. Here's what you want to do if you want to level, but you just sort of do it cheaply.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of for the average user, there should be a fairly easy decision.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Right, what else we got? We wanted to mention that for At the moment, it seems like for some players, XP drops are being turned off.
Yeah, but I didn't even realise that you could turn them off. I didn't actually know that was an option. But
been so
apparently,
long.
if you're not seeing XP, then that's because you have XP turned off in your options.
Yes.
Should be in interface settings.
Yeah, it'll
you
be.
demonstrate that?
You'll be able to turn that back on in interface settings. Apologies for that.
It's just the way
that
default
one.
new accounts are set up. We
So
didn't.
I don't have mine turned on.
Yeah.
Click that. It should be fine.
And
You now get XP
now you see
pop-ups.
XP pop-ups.
There you go.
There we go. So apologise for that confusion. That is something that we've removed. That's not something being removed with the rework.
It's just been a while since a lot of people have created a new account, I think. So
Yeah,
we
I mean,
didn't-
exactly.
Including me, I didn't realise that it was turned off by default.
You also all have on the beta rune metrics enabled for free.
Yes.
So if you want to be
That's
able to
the
track,
in-game part of RuneMetrics, not
Yes.
the website part.
yeah, the in-game part. So if you want
Can you
to
open
be
up
able to see
RuneMetrics?
what your XP per hour is easily without having to get
The
your
second one.
pen and pencil out. Pen and pencil, pen and paper.
So it just automatically pops up with your XP per hour. If you don't change any of the settings, it'll just
Indeed.
by default shows you your XP per hour, which is quite useful. There are lots of settings you can fiddle with. So if you by default, I think if you stay inactive, it just gradually drops. So you'll get misleading XP per hour results if you leave it inactive for a while and then carry on mining. You'll get a weird number.
But I'm still getting 140k an hour here, which is
it's not
fairly.
bad. Not bad.
It's fairly close to live at the moment. So, but it's just without any boost. So once you add those in,
The most important number to us is like, what can a level 90 or 99 player get with the best available ore? Because obviously that's directly comparable to Sarin stones. So that's the number we're balancing most carefully. We're much less worried about what level 50 generates. And actually with the current numbers, I think in both skills, levels sort of 20 to 70 are actually much more generous. But then because at the moment, I mean, particularly with mining, there's just this sort of massive jump at 89. It's a real slog to get to 89 and then bam.
Yeah.
And is it 90? I think the Sarin stones require 89, but you need 90 to unlock them, I think.
I think it's
89.
93 actually.
Okay.
it should be 89.
Wherever it is, there's a sudden jump at Sarin stones, which I think is 89.
Find out.
And
They will
Twitch
tell
will,
us, don't
Twitch will
worry.
tell us if we
yeah,
know.
Twitch will mock me for it.
89, there we go.
Okay, never mind.
And what we've seen people
93.
saying is the mining skill is great at 89 and it's awful before that, and that is kind of what we're trying to embody here. Like actually, can we make the mining skill that good the whole time? Now obviously Sarin stones are a bit oversimplified in that sense. But
The judging you on 93 now.
It might be waterfall. I'm thinking it's 93. There was something at Trip I wanted to unlock and it was 93.
yeah.
Now they're all going to tell me
Feeling-
I'm wrong about waterfall.
No, it is waterfall. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. That's the thing I was getting mixed up then.
That's the problem with working for 6 months on a new version of the skill, is you forget how the old version of the skill worked, and you have to keep going and
Indeed.
reminding yourself.
Should we talk about how the smithing XP rates are kind of like, we've changed it so you can kind of get if you want to basically make money via smithing, you can go for making the base items and then say upgrading them once or twice and then selling those items. But then if you want to kind of go for the quick XP but will cost you massively, you can kind of buy the the highest upgrade of that tier, decorating them and then handing them in for the kind of the massive XPs.
Yeah, so if you're making base items, a base item means without a plus.
Yeah.
And if you're making those, then you're getting really slow, really cheap XP. So if it feels slow, that's because it is. That's the slowest rate. If you instead were to like get +5 Elder Rune from the NPCs outside the hut will just give you items. If you get a load of +5 Elder Rune, decorate it and hand it in, you get vastly faster XP.
It should be around 600,000, if not more,
I think
XP
it's
an hour.
1.2 last time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Last
Decorating,
time
handing in. Yes.
Yeah, decorating and handing it in.
Yeah.
So I saw people saying they weren't getting those rates, and I'm not sure whether that's a bug. I haven't gone and tested that in detail yet. But we balanced that around. So assuming that you, if you want to get onto the beta, there's a link that we're posting every so often.
I think people weren't doing the
Is it the RS launch thing?
the gradual heat. That's why.
As in they weren't keeping high heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why they're
To get the
doing-
fastest XP rates for smithing, you have to keep your heat bar in the top.
1/3.
Third, yeah.
If you let it fall below a third, you'll start to get slower XP. So if you reheat it immediately and carry on, you'll get the fastest rates.
Yeah, so also our aim with smithing was to kind of, with the exception of decorated items, all of the items will be tradable. So basically, you will just, there'll be a constant economy of you will be buying and selling the kind of, those core items.
Yeah, we hope that people who want to level the skill slowly but free or cheap or make money will make the lower level items, not lower level, lower upgrade items, and sell them on to the people who want fast XP. So there'll be an internal economy of the smithing skill is what we're going for there.
People asking, how do I get on the beta? How do I get to this new area? So if you want to get to this new area, this is only on the beta world. This isn't on the live game. We've already talked about what the link is.
Why wouldn't we put that on the live game?
And it's publicly accessible. You don't have to sign up. It's available to absolutely everyone. Even if you don't have membership, even if you want to make a brand new account just for the beta, that's fine. That's free for everyone. Now a question that came up from the chat, and we've seen this a lot. Why does it take so much longer to make an individual item now, and what is that going to do to like those existing items? So obviously right now, rune plate body
Takes about a second.
Is produced out of thin air in mass, and in the beta it takes a few minutes.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer. That's kind of part of the core goal of what the rework is trying to accomplish, is to make, because at the moment, smithing items are just produced en masse, and instead if one smithing item takes a lot longer to make, then it's much more precious and more valuable. So that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish. All the people who are saying, well, what about the knock-on effects on invention particularly and summoning particularly, we're going to have to rebalance and tweak that.
Yeah.
So we're not expecting to ruin invention. That's not the plan.
So for the existing items as well, the other sources of those, so like PVM drops is the most common example. We do plan on going through and making changes to all those. Do we want to talk about that, or are we not quite?
Yeah, I think we've got two plans for that, I think, haven't we? So the intention is to remove smithable drops from monsters. Now that's relevant anyway because rune's being nerfed to 50, so they wouldn't be worth as much anyway. Yep. So we're already implicitly nerfing those drop tables.
Yes.
So in some ways we're fixing that problem as well. But our intention is to remove all the smithable items from monster drop tables and replace them with items which have the same alch and disassembly value, but they're not made of bars and they can't be spring cleaned into bars. Because the reason we need to get rid of them is because we don't want smithing XP and mining XP to come from combat. Sorry, mining. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that then means we have an item that we can put on drop tables instead. So gold won't be affected and components won't be affected, but bars will be affected. So we might need to compensate for the lack of bars by giving out slightly more generous items than were originally on the drop table. Won't necessarily be one-to-one. But that then allows us, because rune at the moment has a certain value within invention and a certain alch value, we can replace it with an equivalent or very slightly better item and to protect the value of the drop table.
Yeah. So you might get something like a ruined rune plate body, for example, and then that would still alch to the same as the rune plate body. It would still disassemble to the same components the rune plate body is. It just wouldn't be spring cleanable or wearable as rune armor.
You can't use it. Yeah. The other plan is, so there's a lot of things that just drop ore and bars. We want to get rid of those as well. And the current plan we have for that is a token. So that you loot the token. The token is a stackable thing that you can carry around with you. And if you've got one of these tokens when you mine an ore, the tokens are per ore type, or per tier perhaps. And then when you mine an ore of that type, you use up a token and get another ore. So it's a bit like the way bonus XP works, but for ore rather than for XP. And so that way, PVMers would get these tokens from drop tables. They could then sell them to miners who can then use them to get double ore. So the value will probably be a bit less than an ore of the equivalent type. And that we can give those out in PVM fairly liberally because they don't remove mining from the game. They just give miners a way to make a bit more money.
But would I get the XP for that ore as well?
No, because you don't get XP for ore in the rework. You get XP for swinging with your pick. So it wouldn't give you extra XP. I mean, we could design them so they did, but I don't think there's any reason to.
Yes. I think particularly with the ore and bar changes, we're still interested in knowing people's thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
We've had some quite negative feedback on it. We've had some quite positive feedback on it. Yeah. There's a few people saying in the chat, we don't want the rework, please don't do the rework, which is possibly the most harsh form of feedback you could get. The answer to that is we've polled it quite a lot,
Yeah.
We also asked the players, can we not do this rework? It's a whole lot of work. And they said, no, definitely do the rework. And they went and got OS to brigade it, and they really, really want us to do the rework. So if you don't think the rework should happen, my answer is effectively way more people do want the rework to happen, so we're doing the rework.
Yeah.
We acknowledge that there are problems. It will create problems for some players. We're doing the best we can to address those problems. We're trying to make sure PVM's not ruined, trying to make sure drops aren't ruined, trying to make sure smithing's still great, mining's still great.
Yeah. And the reason why we're doing a beta at all is to see, make sure that we are on the right track, that we are delivering the thing that you actually want.
Yeah.
We're not going off into a silo and coming back in 9 months with a finished, set in stone mining smithing rework. We've been working on this for a few months now, and we want to get your opinions and see what changes that you want made.
Yeah.
And if you want to give feedback, please do. Please, on the beta poll forum and on the actual poll in game, please throw all the feedback you have.
You can find us on Reddit as well. Send feedback there if you want, or still on Twitter.
Yeah.
We're available. Even if you find us in game, tell us the feedback and we'll try to write it down.
Yeah,
It would be slightly
There's a
better
lot-
to put it somewhere in a bit more permanent.
we can go read the forum thread while we're at home and write it all down, but we can't hang around in game at home watching. It's quite difficult to keep track of what people are saying.
So if you've written anything in any of those places, like we have already spent hours going through those places, making sure that we're keeping track of it, and we're sure to spend hours to come. So it is going to get seen. Don't you worry about that.
There's a good question there. How will it affect free to play? So what we're intending to do, so we're not, counter to what we thought earlier, we've checked the balancing numbers. We're intending to not add any of the new metals to free to play, but because of the changes in the rework, because Rune, although it's been lowered to level 50, which is a big nerf to Rune, it also doesn't deplete. And that's a massive buff to free-to-play. We were looking at free-to-play leveling guides, and they were saying, the correct way to 99 mining in free-to-play is to mine Rune Essence.
Yeah.
So and you have to wear a bronze pickaxe as well. Can't wear any other pickaxe.
Yeah.
It's a very specific thing to do.
So
That's
a bit weird, but yeah.
Weird exploit, though.
So the net effect on free-to-play will be a big buff to mining and smithing rates, but they won't get the new metals. Which seems fair to us. Like, that seems like a fair deal.
Yeah, I think at the moment the only Runite rock even on free to play. I think there's one that's high level dungeoneering, and there's one that's in the wilderness.
There's two in the wilderness.
Oh.
High level wilderness, right at the gate.
So as a free to play player, you'll be able to just go in and mine Runite, make it into Runite items, no trouble.
Yeah.
No Rune items. A lot of people asking about Spring Cleaner. Yeah, that's difficult. Spring Cleaner will be less useful as a result of us removing items from drop tables. Our intention is to add an additional benefit to the Spring Cleaner to counter that. It absolutely cannot be a fountain of rune bars. Like, it can't. That's the whole point of what the changes that we're making, is that mining is the source of metal, not combat.
Yeah.
So in that respect, the Spring Cleaner is going to change. We are trying to put a benefit back onto it. One of the ideas we've had is, we were talking about adding new items that disassemble. It could auto-disassemble them. It could auto-alch them. We can't commit to a design on that yet, because it's obviously a very difficult thing to balance, because it should and will have a huge impact on the way combat works. So it's a very delicate thing to design. But we don't want to just ruin Spring Cleaner and ignore that problem. So we're going to do the best we can to make sure that the springs and Spring Cleaner still have a value.
And to answer the people, can we read the chat rather than answering pre-prepared questions? We are reading the chat. That's how I can answer your question about can we read the chat.
I like Sassy Dave. Tri Hour was a really interesting one. I was thinking about this recently. So the thing about Tri Hour, so harmonized rune is now not useful. Because you can just mine rune anywhere, right? So harmonized rune is no better than any other rune. I think the thing from reading people's the Tri Hour clan chats and stuff, I feel like what's important there is more the gameplay of there is a thing that occurs, it requires communication, everyone goes there and does a thing. So I think we can create a new, fairly simple mechanic, I think, which sort of mimics what you're getting out of Tri Hour, even though harmonized rune itself is kind of pointless now. So it could be, for example, that there's a big rock that only spawns on one world, and you have to spread out and look for it, and then everyone goes to that world and mines it for an hour, something like that, which is effectively the way people use Tri Hour now. And it's the communication and sense of community, I think, that's important rather than specifically the mechanics. But that's not a final plan. Nothing I say is a final plan. We need to design this. In some cases, we might need to poll it.
Yeah, so we've got like a huge list of kind of things like Trial Hour, things like the Artisans Workshop, like a huge list of content that we do have to basically do something with because we're completely changing the kind of the core
It's what,
mechanics.
14 pages long now, 16 pages long.
It's huge. It's nuts.
To take another example of that very sort of thing from the chat, which just scrolled off, which is annoying. It was something along the lines of, with the new ore bag, will that not include coal, or will the coal bag do something else? I hope that was close enough to the question.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
and Tom had a really good suggestion for the coal bag earlier. So we were talking about what to do with heat and what to do with coal and what to do with the coal bag. So this is the plan we came up with earlier. Again, not final, but we quite like this as a design. So we put a new item on the Dungeoneering guy, which you can buy for tokens, which you can load coal into, and which then, when you run out of heat, consumes a coal to refill your heat to some level, maybe a third of your heat or something like that. And then you carry it, so you then, it would allow you to smith AFK
So in the same
and consume
sense,
coal in the process.
yeah, in the same sense that currently with mining, you can click a rock and you will continuously make progress and continuously mine, regardless of if you're at your PC or not. Like you can go make a cup of tea, come back, you'll still be mining. And this basically coal bag item would now allow you to do that while smithing as well. But it would then consume coal in the process.
And to the person saying, sell coal bags, yes, your coal bag will be refunded for free when we do that, so don't worry.
Yeah, that's what we do.
I don't think you can sell a coal bag anyway, so it
You
should be
can
fine.
throw it away for half of the DG token cost, I
Free?
think.
Oh,
True,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Wait for the rework when we do it for
We'll
free.
put a full refund on it instead. Someone was saying what a metal dragon's going to drop. I think with these tokens that drop that allow you to get double metal, I think they'd be an excellent thing to put on metal dragons.
Yeah, I mean, we could potentially, like, for small cases like Metal Dragons, like use like a bar version of that drop, maybe.
As in like a smelting version rather than a mining version, possibly.
It's something that
we'd have to look at the balancing
go
effect of that.
completely design.
Yeah.
And to continue on that and tell you another one, how are we going to give people the ore bag? I think a couple of people on the forums asked, is it going to be on the tool belt?
We
It's gonna
imagine
be
you being
quest
able to
rewards.
claim it from the tool belt, right?
Yes.
But at the moment on the beta, and we might keep this depending on whether people hate it or not, at the moment you just get it. When you mine, it just appears in your inventory. Because the problem there is for very low level players, they're not going to understand how to use the tool belt. New players, particularly when we take mobile into account, they start mining. The ore bag is an alternative to things like mining carts. We could have implemented mining carts instead.
We
after
went
a
through
lot
lots of kind of
we went through lots
iterations.
of iterations, and what we came up with was the ore bag. And actually, it needs to be there. It needs to be accessible. We could instead make it like a little button at the bottom of the inventory, like the bond pouch. That would be a different way of implementing it. As it is at the moment, we've gone with an inventory object, and we think that works fairly well. Seems it's quite easy to use. Well, as soon as you understand how it works, it's nice and straightforward.
Yeah, but if there are, it's not for the beta only. The ore bag will be, or at least some iteration of it will be in the live game. If you think it's confusing or you have some alternate suggestions of how it works, as we said before, forums, Reddit, Twitter, all the usual, we're looking at it.
So another one I grabbed from the chat. Strength does affect your mining level. Strength on items doesn't. It's only an actual stat increase.
Yep.
So currently, even though you can't get them on the beta, if you drink an overload, you do mine slightly quicker.
It isn't worth doing.
It's not worth doing. No, we can put it in the spreadsheet. We've got it in the spreadsheet. Though, overload. And we see the XP rates go up by about 0.03% or something.
Yeah, if you want the absolute tip top mining XP per hour.
You can use auras, you can use Supreme Overload, anything that boosts your stats.
Yes, but it has to be a stat boost. It can't be like power armor that just gives you a damage increase.
Luminite will be available for free to play. Yes. Yes, I said none of the new ores, but yes, Luminite's a new ore, of course. Yes, Luminite is just an alternative to coal.
The new metals is probably more accurate.
The new metals that are 60 and higher will not be available to free to play. If it's 50 and lower, it will be available to free to play.
Right, we've got any other good questions in the chat? Should we go to the backup list? The tokens that you were talking about going on drop tables, those would be tradable, wouldn't they?
Yes, they have to be
definitely.
tradable, yes. Because the idea would be that PVMers would sell them to skillers.
Yes.
And they'd be worth a bit less than the ore was, probably.
Dragon ore won't be a thing, but the tier 60 ore we're having as Dracolith.
It's the equivalent.
So that's where you'd make your requirement 60 armor, things like that.
It's the metal that dragon armor is made of, but dragon armor is made by Dragonkin in a special way, and so you can't make dragon armor. We talked about that quite a lot in a couple of previous live streams, I think.
Yeah.
Did we want to talk about? Have we talked enough about how to get good rates? Like,
I'll show how to do the smithing part in a bit, but I'm just keep clicking here.
so mining.
Trying to keep my stamina up at the full
If you're
point.
getting low mining XP, then there's like 3 possible reasons for that. If you're using a mining pick, which is a lower tier than the metal that you're mining, then you're going to get very low XP and low ore as a result.
Yes.
So you can mine runite with an adamant pickaxe, but don't. Use at least a runite one. If your level is higher, you get XP faster. Your level directly factors into how much XP you get. If you click repeat from level 15, the yellow bar at the top, the 2 bars, the bottom bar is how close you are to getting the next ore. The top bar is how tired you are. And if you click the rock you're mining, it refills to full. And as long as it's full, you mine slightly faster. And
By
it's
1 tick? So
yeah,
instead
1
of
tick faster.
instead of 5 tick mining, you do 4 tick mining.
Yeah, which means you get 20%
Yes.
extra XP and all.
Quite a lot of increased XP.
The bonus is small enough that if you don't want it and you just want to mine AFK, you're not really missing out. But if you want to play actively, and that's the way I've been doing it, it's fairly easy to click every so often. There is an audio prompt as well.
Well, when you know ticks, you can just count in your head. You click.
So from the chat, Artisan's Workshop is again one of those things on the big list of things we have to
We
completely redesign.
were going to talk about a very high level plan for it, weren't we? Which was that we were thinking of like reimagining the Artisan's Workshop as the Smithing Guild, and that would be a good way of solving both of those problems in one go. But we don't want to talk in detail about what that would mean at this point.
Yeah, it's something that we want to kind of go through and completely design. I'd say.
We like the idea of the Artisan's Workshop area being the definitive place to go and do smithing, to get everyone there in one place and have it be the best place to smith.
We are going to be changing it when the rework comes out, such that when you unlock the ability to smith bronze items, you can make all bronze items. So that will be, that's a bad example because I picked bronze there. Iron, you unlock all iron items, so you'll have that straight from level 10. As soon as you can make anything runite, you can make everything runite, and so on. It's no longer going to be like it is at the moment, where you start with bar, then dagger, then short sword.
It's partly
probably.
because in the redesign, like making plate bodies isn't really much better than making boots. You do have slightly less clicks, but it's not
very, very
it's
slim.
not particularly faster.
So a lot of people are asking when the actual update is coming to the game. We don't have a firm date that we're coming yet. It's not soon. It's
but it is planned. It's planned for this year.
yes, it is coming. It is coming this year. To give you the idea of timescale, we are saying things like it's coming this year, so it is not 1 month away. It is much longer than that.
The reason it's not coming right now is there are loads of things that need fixing.
Yeah.
Like people are saying, what are GG potions? Like, we're going to have to fix that. We need to fix GG potions.
Yeah.
Because the ore bag makes GG potions less useful. So we need to either need to acknowledge that GG potions are dead now, or we need to fix GG potions to make them do something useful.
Yeah, and we completely want to go through and kind of make these things useful, not just kind of say, oh, actually, we don't want to do anything with the Artisan's Workshop, let's just close it off and leave it. We actually want to go through all these things and make something meaningful from them.
We need to at least have a proper design discussion for each of them, even if we end up not fixing them. And that's incredibly time consuming because there are so many things. And the whole point of unfinished business is we're not just going to ship it and say, no, none of it's all broken now.
Yeah, I mean, we as I think you said earlier, Jack, like we polled, do you just want the quick version or do you want the longer version? And obviously, the resounding...
Yeah, it's like 70% said, no, do the full thing.
Yeah,
Get it
exactly.
right, do the whole thing.
Which is why we're
that's why it's
talking
taking
about
so
such
long.
a long time scale. There was... damn it, there was a question from the chat that I wanted to say, and it's scrolled off. I completely forgot what it was, and that's just throwing me off.
I'm sure they'll spam it again. So.
Yeah.
Dracolith should be red. Yes, these colours are a bit placeholdery.
I'll say the entire armour look
I
is
certainly
placeholder.
imagine Dracolith as being red.
Yeah, I think the colours were picked using the dartboard method.
Yes, there's no relationship between the colours and what they'll actually look like in game.
Do some
For
red
example, I
smithing.
imagine like Animika looking like Sarin stones, for example.
Yes.
And at the moment it looks like a big blue cube. Or is it the green one?
Which one?
I mean, Sarin stones are sort of cubes.
Is like Animika the big green cube or the big blue cube?
I can't see from here. Like
It's the big green cube, yeah.
It's very greenish cube. And then we have the cheese, who's Illuminate.
So everything from 60 up will be members, and everything from 50 down will be free to play.
Yep.
And that is a big buff to free to play, believe it or not. We don't know where the new ores are going to be placed. Someone's asking, where can I mine these things? We're going to find places for them. So, for example, one of the ores is called Living Rock. Assuming we keep it called Living Rock, the obvious place to put that would be in the Living Rock Caverns. We're going to be finding where we can appropriate places to put them in the world. We don't want to quest lock them. It might be that there's a quest locked area you can go to, but we don't. And you were saying maybe we can quest lock some of them.
Yes.
As long as they're accessible to skill peers, we could conceivably quest lock some of them.
Yeah.
But in general, we intend for them to be accessible. It's not supposed to be a ball ache to get to the level 90 ores.
No. We want them to all be available. Should we go through some of the other points?
Yeah,
what else we got? We did coal already, didn't we? We talked about drops. A lot of people have said prospecting. Can we put prospecting back in? And that makes perfect sense. Prospect the rock to learn its stats.
Yeah, so that was definitely one of the feedback points I found quite a lot. Was a lot of people were posting on the forum basically saying we really enjoyed the kind of the world building aspect of prospecting and that kind of sense of discovery. So that is something we can happily add back in. Now rocks kind of have a much higher need of what the information actually is.
So a lot of different variants of what we're doing about out prices. So on existing items, they're going to come down because they're a lot easier to produce.
Yes. Actually, Harry, you know what? This has just occurred to me because we've been saying that.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot longer to make a rune plate body now than it did before. So although they're lower tier, they're much longer to produce. So we may not need to reduce the out prices. We'll have the answer is we'll have to do the balancing. Right?
Yes.
Like, we don't know what the new out price is because it has to be balanced.
Yes, we need to make sure that it makes sense given what we think the prices of bars are going to be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Indeed.
Things that are on drop tables, as we said before, things like plate bodies won't be dropping from monsters anymore. And what we replace those plate bodies with will have the same out price about as the existing items that you would get.
And our intention is to like fix people's banks as well. Like if your bank is currently full of something we make worthless, we replace it with something with approximately equal value to what you had before.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We haven't designed this either, and we need to think about the cost of doing this. But it could be that we give you a token and you can hand the token in to claim a thing.
Yeah, we definitely want to preserve people's banks. We don't want you to kind of log in the day after the rework and suddenly your 200 billion bank is now worthless. We want that to be the same amount, regardless of the rework.
Yeah, obviously, it won't be. There's no way we can make it exact because partly it depends on GE price, and we can't control the GE price. But our intent, particularly for things that are at ALC price, it's fairly straightforward for us to say, well, yeah, it ALC's for this, therefore, let's give you something with the same ALC value.
What's going to happen to arc mining? That's just one of the many things that is going to be coming later down the line.
It's on the list.
Honestly, we don't have a definitive answer right now.
But we do want to bring in all those kind of different things to the core mining. We wouldn't kind of just
need to update
we
them
wouldn't
to work with
leave
the new
kind of
mechanics.
crablets to be the kind of work with the old system. We'd want to bring them into the new system.
They'll have to work with the new system. Someone's asking about Iron Man, the effect this is going to have on Iron Man.
Yes.
It is, in some ways, it will be difficult. If you're an Iron Man currently who depends on drops to get materials, then you will no longer be able to depend on drops to get materials.
Indeed.
And there's not much we can do about that because that is the core point of what we're trying to accomplish here, is to remove drops, is to remove materials from combat. If you're an Iron Man who actually does intend to DIY mining and smithing, then it ought to be a big improvement because the mid-level XP rates are way higher. The ore is much more part of the reason that people would rather get runite from combat is because you just can't get it any other way. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. And now you can get tier 90 ore really straightforwardly by just going and mining it. It's not hard to get. So the DIYing itself is much, much easier. Whether that's a net benefit or a net nerf to Iron Man kind of depends on your playstyle.
Yeah.
I think we feel fairly strongly that the point of Iron Man is to play the game DIY, and it isn't. It's
getting your ore from monsters isn't the kind of the DIY mining and smithing that we want.
Yeah, that's not how the game is supposed to work. It's just an artifact of the way the drop tables have been allowed to get better and better and better without mining being fixed.
So people are asking about chests or drops, basically anything related that drops a bar, an ore, or an armor piece will be changed or will be removed. Yeah. So even the red drop table, the crystal chest and Prifdenners, it'll all be changed and adapted to still be the same profit, but use different items, so you can't get armors. So you shouldn't panic, but...
Some of you will be listening to that and going, oh my god, this is going to kill RuneScape. And some of you will be listening to that going, oh my god, this is going to make RuneScape good again for the first time in 20 years. 20 years? Yeah, that makes sense. And
that's a huge burn, really.
That illustrates that, this is a really difficult problem. Like, for some people, RuneScape is a combat game now. And this is a bad thing for that. And for other people, they've been waiting for a long, long time for skilling to be valued again, and that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And we can't really have it both ways. So with the drop table changes, we're hoping that combat will still have a clear role. Like the gold value of drop tables will still be the same, the raw gold value, and the disassembly value of drop tables will be the same, and you'll still be able to get these ore tokens, assuming that's how we do it. But the Iron Man problem is the most concrete version of that problem. If you want to get Runite from combat, you will no longer be able to get Runite from combat.
So someone asking, what about arrows? I think there's an earlier question about will you be able to make Hasta, and I assume there have probably been a bunch of questions about all the other sort of niche items that can be smithed. So we're not going to be adding for the new tiers. At the moment, the plan is not to add any new arrows and any new med helms. There's probably only going to be 1 or 2 weapons at each new tier. There's not going to be any new nails because we are, like, for the things like arrows, this mining and smithing rework is focused obviously a lot more on melee. We're not trying to add a bunch of extra new stuff to fletching. And as for the things like Hasta, they're sort of a little bit too out there, and we kind of want to prioritize how we want to spend our art time.
Yeah, we want to make sure our current plan is longsword and two-hander.
Yeah, and a offhander.
And an offhand, and a shield.
And a shield, yes.
Yeah.
And a full set of armor.
And a full set of armour, including gauntlets and boots.
Indeed.
Yes.
For all the new tiers. We're not on the beta. You can't make a lot of stuff. I think. Can you show steel?
I'm sorry, Elder.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They're all are the same thing. So these are all things we'll be able to make.
Yeah. So that's what we intend to launch with. On the beta, you can only make those things for the lower metals as well, the existing metals. It's not that you're not going to be able to make.
Yeah, you'll still be able to make
we didn't implement them for the beta because they didn't illustrate very much. So we'll make sure all that stuff is implemented and still makeable.
Yeah. So anything currently smithable is still going to be smithable.
Yes.
We're not taking anything away.
But there won't be a Dracolith med helm or a Dracolith Hasta or probably even a Dracolith mace to start with.
No.
There's a lot of additional items that can be made there. But I mean, that's the point, I guess. If you think like, would you be excited for an update that allows you to make a Nechrite level 70 mace? The answer is not really. So, like, it's not actually that important to include. As long as you can make a weapon, that's the important thing we have to get done. And then more weapons can be added in future as and when we have time and interest in doing so.
On a similar note, there was also why can't I equip decorated equipment? I think we've gone back and forth on that a few times.
Yeah, we've changed it in testing several times, and we
in an attempt to sort of clarify its purpose in that the point of decorating it is generally to hand it in for smithing XP. But if that's very confusing for people, or they worry they're going to accidentally do something to it, it seems unlikely that in real play that you would accidentally decorate it, but I guess it's possible.
It's definitely possible that you would,
So we might make it equipable.
Locking it. So originally you could do it from level 1, and we've changed it to be level 50 upwards. And there's probably less of a concern about that, but we are worried about people accidentally decorating their gear because it just sounds better. And it isn't better. What it does is it converts it into an XP token. It's an XP token that looks like a piece of armour, but its only purpose is to hand in for XP. It doesn't have better stats than +5. It wouldn't have better stats than the maximum upgrade level. So for example, we might retheme that to be just a like you said, a physical smithing XP token, or maybe instead of decorating it, you destroy it for knowledge or something like that. Yeah, I mean, an extreme version, which would really would be you have to make the whole armor set and dress it up and put a ribbon on it and give it to Thurgo as a present, and that's how you hand it in. And that makes it really clear that you can't wear it, for example, because it's a present. Just as an extreme example of how we might communicate that. I think the name decorated is a bit misleading. People keep asking me, what's decorated going to look like? Is it going to look better? Can I put it on my armor stand? it's not intended to be a cosmetic. I would
Yeah,
really,
it might be the
really-
case that we rename it.
Yeah. I would really, really like to have +1, +2, +3, +4, +5 look different. I don't know whether we're going to be able to do that. It's not a very high priority.
No.
It'd be fantastic if we could.
There was another related question once again. So we said probably alongside at every tier. There was the counter question of, well, could we have a different item at each tier? And yeah, that's entirely possible. We might do that.
Yeah,
so at
could be,
one
yeah.
tier, maybe it's an axe. At one tier, maybe it's a spear.
Maze.
Yeah.
Any weapon type,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
don't feel
that's
very-
an
don't feel
entirely
very
reasonable
strong.
idea, and we might do
I
that.
saw someone just said, how did you get selected for the beta? I wanted to be in the beta. I'm not sure if assume they were talking about this beta. It's not, there's no limit. Everyone is eligible to join the beta.
Yeah.
Free to
Should be a
play,
link.
new accounts, just follow the link.
Yeah.
Make sure you paste the whole link into your browser because the
Or-
RS launch prefix is important and you can just join the beta.
Yeah, or just jump on the homepage on the news
Yeah.
post and
Yeah.
find it
Follow
through
the
that.
link.
Will we be able to increase ore bag capacity? That seems like it's probably a logical reward. Like
Yes,
that's
definitely, yeah. Yeah.
obvious.
That was what I previously, before Tom's suggestion, that was my previous idea for what the coal bag would be. Would just be DG, we could put this on as well. Just
Yeah.
pay DG tokens to buy a thing that means your ore bag is larger now.
Yeah, there are a lot of things like that, that we've got ideas for rewards in mind already, and some of them are going to be from existing stuff and implemented straight away, and some of them will probably come from other updates. As time goes on. But like when people talk about like, oh, it'd be cool if I could unlock a thing that made my heat work a bit differently. Like, yeah, that's the exact sort of thing that we want to do.
Yeah.
And increasing the capacity of the ore bag is, definitely
absolutely.
one of them.
All these new fiddly systems that some people are finding a bit too fiddly, the point of them, the reason they exist is so that rewards can exist, because at the moment smithing doesn't really have much room to give rewards.
So one I'll grab from the chat, the XP kind of between mining and smithing, that kind of ratio. If you want to get, say, 99 smithing, but you want to DIY it with 99 mining, you'll have to get over 99 mining to actually get 99 smithing. Like, we didn't want a kind of a 1-to-1 XP to resource ratio.
Yeah.
So like if you want, say if you get to, say, 50 mining, and all of that ore will probably get you to 40, 45 smithing? Around
I
that?
I did have the numbers for this, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, we don't have the numbers
Yeah, but
exactly
it
written down
definitely
in front of us
isn't-
right
it
now.
definitely
My
isn't 1-to-1.
DIY on the beta so far, I'm 55 mining and 45 smithing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
They're
also
quite a
mine
long
some
way apart
ores to be able to smith as well. So it's
Yeah, exactly.
somewhat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you will always have to do more mining.
You
than
will
smithing.
hit mining 99 long before smithing.
And that's not all different to live. It's probably, in fact, slightly more generous than live is.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. If you're wondering why we've done it that way, so I had originally planned that they would level. If you're DIYing, you would hit 99 about the same time, which sort of makes sense. But when I was talking to people about it, they pointed out I was being a bit silly because that would mean that ore was worthless because everyone would, unless you specifically went out of your way not to do that.
Yeah. You'd have no
You
need
would
to
always
buy
get
ore.
as much
Yeah.
ore as you needed to get your smithing to 99 by leveling it, simply mining on 99. Because both getting 99 in both skills is just an objective that a lot of players have. Very few people are going to go, well, I definitely want 99 smithing and not 99 mining, so that everyone would just have as much ore as they needed and ore would have no value. So for mining to be a skill that's useful to have, most of the community need more ore than they can produce themselves.
Decorate item. Woohoo.
We're not planning on doing mining and smithing to 120. The reason is because we don't like it. It wouldn't produce anything because
Yeah. Well,
combat would need to be 120 to make smithing 120 relevant.
Yeah, when combat goes to 120, if it does,
If-
that's when
yeah.
mining and smithing might go to 120.
Mm.
But that's a very long time, I assume.
We could design it to do something completely different, like you make a train or something. But then at that point, when the high combat comes out, then high level smithing would need to be redesigned. It just doesn't make any sense to do 120 smithing at the moment.
As for dungeoneering, I think dungeoneering is going to remain entirely unaffected
We're hoping-
for both skills.
Yeah, we're hoping we don't need to change anything
Yes.
because fixing dungeoneering to work the same way would delay the rework by months, and it doesn't seem worth it because
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, dungeoneering, like kind of one of the big points of this update is quite economy focused, and dungeoneering obviously doesn't directly affect that
Yeah.
at all. So it's kind of
Yeah.
unrelated. As for the things that affect mining and smithing that you buy from dungeoneering,
We need to fix those.
yes, we need to fix those. We need to think about what they do, and we earlier discussed what we might do with the
with all things like that. We'll tweak them, we'll rebalance them, or we'll completely redesign them. So like the coal bag just doesn't make any sense in the new system. So we'll remove it, we'll refund it, and we'll replace it with something that's useful.
And I think it's worth mentioning, like we're talking about lots of these changes that we're going to be doing in the future, and obviously some of them are still quite undecided. All of them are still open to change, and we are going to be doing another beta. Don't ask me when. We haven't decided that yet.
Yeah.
But before release, there'll be another beta, so that you can have another try of all these things. You can.
There'll be invention stuff. Certain boosts, and we'll plug in. So you have a lot more to play with than just the very basics of.
The timing of that's going to be awkward because that will have to be fairly close to launch.
Yeah.
So that because obviously we'll have to have implemented everything, so we won't be able to make enormous changes at that stage. But at least people can help find stuff that just doesn't work or that just isn't good enough or that kind of thing.
Will we be using, so there's a couple of similar questions. Will we be using the concepts for the previous, that we've shown previously in the rework? I think we've shown it in a few RuneFests.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take it to the concept art team and see what they think, I think. And if they...
Yeah, I think that's something that might be redesigned completely.
Yeah, we're not sure. They might change completely.
That's up to the artists,
It's mostly up to the artists, yeah. We'll give our input and let them think about it.
So one from the chat, the concentrated ores, we will be completely looking at them, and again, it's on one of the things of the giant list of stuff. We will be kind of probably bringing them into the new system, as with all ores.
Oh, we'll have to make all rocks will have to be in the new
things
system.
like gold and silver, stuff like that probably will end up being in the hopper, but they're just not there at the moment because you can't smith anything out of them.
Copper, gold and silver particularly we're going to have to look at because that's a huge obvious impact on crafting and stuff, so we're not entirely sure where to place that. Concentrated coal probably just doesn't make sense in the new system. There's no need for it. Yeah. There's plenty of higher ores now that fill the leveling gap, and coal isn't needed in such quantities. So, I mean, we may want to keep them because we were talking earlier about perhaps a coal sink that allows you to keep your heat higher to AFK Smith. So maybe coal is still useful enough to justify concentrated coal, but maybe it's not. So we'll have to look at that.
So taking a series of semi-related questions, corrupted ore. We are probably not going to change the corrupted ore you already have.
No, the stuff you have can just stay as it is, yeah.
The rocks at Prifdinus, obviously pointed out, currently goes up to 90. It was going to be, like because we're changing rune rocks, now it's only going up to 50. Are we going to be putting new rocks there? Yes, almost certainly.
Yep.
And Sarin stones, we are probably going to be changing, but you will still be able to get.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. So we have a tentative plan, but this isn't final, so please let us know what you think. The way I'd like to do it is, so light animica is themed to be what Sarin stones are, replace all the Sarin stones with light animica, and then because mining, that's not a full AFK experience, so create a special mining pick that allows you to effectively get 0 ore and double XP. So you can duplicate the Sarin stone gameplay by going to Prif, mining light animica with this special mining pick. I was proposing could it be the crystal pickaxe, and you were saying no, we shouldn't make it that because we don't want to lock the crystal pickaxe to that playstyle because a lot of people are just using it because it's the best one, not because they want to be, not because they want 0 ore. So probably, or assuming we did this, create a new pickaxe which did this effect, and then you could duplicate the gameplay of Sarin stones. It would look like Sarin stones. It would give the same XP and ore as Sarin stones. Probably because it's in Prif, it would give corrupted ore still, or we'd have to balance that. We don't know whether we'd have to check the balancing on that. But it's more important to duplicate the gameplay than to leave Sarin stones exactly as they are. So as long as you can log in and do the same thing, we think that's important.
And one thing we do want to preserve is kind of the value of the crystal pickaxe at the moment.
That's really important. Currently, as it's balanced in the beta, the crystal pickaxe is, I think, isn't it as good as Elder Rune, I think?
The crystal pickaxe is as good as a tier 80 pickaxe.
Bane.
It's slightly better than a Bane one.
Yeah.
Right.
And the upgraded crystal pickaxe
Slightly better than
is the best pickaxe.
And that's roughly what we're thinking. So you'll need the crystal pickaxe to make an upgraded crystal pickaxe. We don't know the exact process yet, but it will require the crystal pickaxe.
Indeed.
So having the crystal pickaxe is useful. And then you'll upgrade it to the upgraded one, and that will be the best pickaxe.
And the incandescent pickaxe will also have something to it. So my suggestion was, instead of having the crystal pickaxe do the no ore and double XP, have encounter pick
Could be the
as
encounter
a
one,
quest reward and everything. Do that instead.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, and when it comes to upgrading it, we will make sure we do it in a manner that you don't have to ruin your perks or throw away your current augmented pickaxe.
Yes.
We'll think of that,
Yeah.
don't worry. The suggestion to do it as a invention perk isn't unreasonable. As I said, we're still thinking about.
We'd want to make sure it was
exactly how that
accessible,
would
right?
work.
So we don't want to.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily want to lock a huge benefit behind a different
that's a good
grind.
point.
Like you unlocked Elf City to get to Sarin Stones. We may not want to lock the new Sarin Stones behind something different. It depends.
Yeah, and we'll probably let you use a toolbelt one. As I said, this is talking about a thing that we haven't necessarily actually designed in full yet.
No, yeah,
But
a lot of the stuff is
toolbelt and augmented ones are already that's
Yeah.
already a gotcha that we have in mind.
The mining picks with pluses on them make the tool belt get much more complicated. So
Yes.
we may need to allow you to remove pickaxes from the tool belt. We haven't decided yet. A lot of people have been asking what will be augmentable and what won't be. The honest answer is we will make sure everything very high level is augmentable, but we will be trying to minimize how much is augmentable because augmented items are really expensive to develop. Like they take a long, long time. So there's not much point. So if a +5 Elder Rune item is augmentable, it might not be that a +4 Elder Rune item is augmentable because that's just literally twice as much work. And if you're trying to use the best augmentable item, you might as well just use a +5. So we won't just make everything augmentable because it makes sense. We'll be limiting it to the minimum that we think is necessary to make it work.
Are we going to give people a reason to move around to different mining sites?
I would have thought probably not. There's some
Yeah.
ways we could do that, but that sounds more like a future update to me.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the tier 90 ores won't all be in the same place,
No.
but
Yeah.
there won't be a tier 90 ore in kind of Varrock.
I mean, in
So
particular,
you won't want really to go back there if you don't want to get the tin.
the current mining mechanics sort of force people to spread out.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of bad. Like, we don't really want people to spread out. We want people to be in the same place, mining together. Like, it's really important parts. Well, it's kind of why the beta's nice. Everyone's hanging around in the same place, chatting with each other. So actually, we don't particularly want 5 different mining places for the same ore and encourage people to spread out so they never meet anyone else. That's not actually a thing that we want. What else we got? We got anything else on the list?
God armors are kind of a weird special exception. We're unlikely to change those, but as we've said a few times, we'll figure it out when we get there. I assume that you're referring to the God armors from Clue Scrolls.
The trimmed ones, yeah.
Yeah, so they're probably not going to change.
No, I
'cause
wouldn't
they,
have thought so.
they kind of can't.
Yeah, trims for low-level armors. I don't think there's any need for them to change. Like, there's nothing we're doing will change them or break them.
Is there anything else we need to go through?
If you want, someone's asking, should I level my smithing now? A lot of people are panicking. They're saying, oh my god, got to get to 99, got to get to 200 million before the update hits. Our intention is that it is balanced such that it is slightly faster post-rework. And the reason I say slightly faster and not exactly the same is because we will never successfully balance it to be exactly the same. That's just a pipe dream. So we're going to err on the side of better because it would suck to log in after the rework and have it be worse. So we're going to balance it to be slightly better. The one exception to that I would say is we can't control the prices of things on the GE. So particularly immediately after launch, the price of ore is going to spike. The new ores are going to be priceless on launch day. Don't try to max your smithing the day after we launch it.
It'll be very
Maybe
expensive.
wait a few weeks until the prices have stabilised a little bit because we don't control the GE prices. If a month later, it's now ridiculously expensive to level smithing because the supply and demand just aren't working out. Maybe the lack of ore from combat is meaning that there's just no ore in the economy, so no one can level smithing anymore. We'll look at that and we'll fix that. Like it's not supposed to be ridiculously expensive to level smithing post rework, and we don't want that to be the case.
Well, that is about all the time that we
Oh yeah, we
have.
have time.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I want to keep going, but I can't.
Thank you everyone for all your questions and for tuning in. As we've said a million times before, if you want to play the beta, it's up now. It's going to be up until the end of next week. You can find the links for that. Easiest place to get it is on the current top news post on the RuneScape homepage. you do need NXT to log into it, but it's available to absolutely everyone. You don't need to sign up. You can have a free-to-play account. You can create a brand new account if you like. You don't have to, but if you like, and you'll be able to play the beta. There are no requirements aside from owning the NXT client. Keep leaving your feedback, tweeting any of us on Reddit or on the forums. It's extremely useful, and we're reading it all.
Yeah, if you want to leave a complicated piece of feedback, like your opinion, this is what I think of mining, the best place for that is the forum.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Because we read through that, but people post to it faster than we can read
at the
it.
moment.
So
Yeah.
if you want a response to a question, the best way to get an answer is to tweet us, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're much better, particularly because we can just do that in the loo.
Yes.
So if you want a direct response to a specific question, Twitter's the best place. If you want to just leave some feedback, which we are reading, forum is better, but we don't respond as much on the forum because it's more difficult for us to do so.
Yes. But yeah, even if we don't respond to something that you've said, that doesn't mean we haven't read it. We are trying to respond to particularly any quick questions that we can.
Yeah.
But obviously there's so much coming in that it's not always possible.
If you see other players asking questions and you know the answer because we've said it, please tell them. That's really helpful. A lot of people are hanging around in the beta giving answers, and that's brilliant. Please keep doing that.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.